But I'm sure your comments will be amazing. You have 3 minutes.
Alrighty. Hello, my name is Jason Grouton. I'm a graduate student at New School of Architecture and Design. Me and 3 fellow students of mine joined forces on our thesis project. We wanted to work together and do more than just a theoretical project, and we wanted to make a difference in our community. So we wanted to do a design build project with an emphasis on temporary architecture. Our whole idea is due to the economic downturn in 2008, redevelopment agencies have slowed down. That's leaving many cities on hold in terms of development and leaving many vacant lots throughout the city, either privately owned or city owned. So our idea is with temporary architecture to approach these vacant sites, either city owned or privately owned, and provide some kind of 5-year temporary architecture that could create a spark or a market for that site and get the community engaged and get kind of a social engagement, public benefit for the site instead of leaving it dead and vacant throughout the city. We kind of approached this project with privately owned sites at first, and then we went to the mayor's city office hours, his first office hours. We met the mayor. He seemed to like the idea, and it just kind of rolled off of that. We had a few meetings with the mayor, and now we are working together with Civic San Diego and the mayor's office to try to develop one of these sites in East Village. So again, our whole idea is to do temporary architecture and try to redefine people's awareness and idea via the code and the public and the community is how we can implement temporary architecture into San Diego urban fabric. So I guess as part of the budget, maybe we could be supported, maybe the city can support this and provide some kind of future budgeting for this type of architecture. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That's all of our non-agenda public comment this morning. I'll ask if there's any committee comment at this time. Seeing none, let the record reflect that District 5 is now present. Is there any city attorney, mayoral, or IBA staff comment at this time? Very good. We'll go to our first presentation of the morning. I know that we're joined by our mayor, Bob Filner, is here to help kick off this item. And I understand this is our Development Services Department. It also includes our Neighborhood Code Compliance, Planning, Economic Development. And before the mayor begins, I'll just inform the public we have almost 30 speakers at this point, and the speaker slips keep coming in. I'm going to ask you all to limit your comments to 2 minutes, and if we get a whole lot more, I'll start reducing further from there. So if you can adjust your comments accordingly, I'd appreciate that. Mayor, welcome. How much time do you need?
Hour, 2 hours.
You got it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Council. It's a pleasure to be here with you and talk about the item in the budget. As you know, the budget was in the process way before I got elected mayor, and so we've called this a transitional budget. Most of it was in process, and we've added a couple things, and I want to talk about one of those things today that we're calling the Civic Imagination and Neighborhood Initiatives program. And although it was not planned, Jason's statement that was just made is a perfect segue. I know each and every one of us and all of you in your day-to-day get some great ideas come to you. And we always say, well, what are we going to do with them? You know, we have these departments, we have silos, we have bureaucracies, we just don't seem to know how to keep that conversation moving, how to get ideas in your own districts and the city at large, to really have a conversation and some creativity and to cross all those boundaries. And I've thought a lot about this in the various government positions I've been in. And what I thought is, why not do it here in San Diego to, in fact, establish something within the city, but can cross all the city bureaucracy and all the city lines and all the ways we generally do things by having basically space for people to come together and really talk about these new and innovative ideas. And that's what I propose in this budget. Many of you may have noticed that the fourth floor in this building has been vacant for quite a bit of time. When the planning department was folded into development services, So I propose to use, if go by the fourth floor, there's a little sign there that says, now the center or incubator or laboratory, we haven't figured out the word yet, for a new civic imagination and urban initiatives. And we hope to turn that floor using the kind of architecture that Jason and others from the New School of Architecture, wait till you see their block, by the way. He didn't get a chance to show you any pictures. What they have envisioned for downtown, so we just take a part of a block, and they're doing things with shipping containers and all kinds of stuff, and lunch carts and stuff, and making a real gathering place for people in the East Village. And I think you're going to be amazed at what these, I'll call them kids, because what they've come up with and how they're going to really spark a downtown. But how do you get that done within our city in a real way? And we have seen in recent years many cities around the world, from Portland and Seattle in this country, from Copenhagen to Medellin and Bogota in Colombia, have prioritized civic culture, public participation, and innovative cross-institutional collaborations to produce dramatic urban and economic transformations that have caught the attention of the world. The cities have pulled themselves up by their own bootstraps. And many of these urban success stories began with political leadership committed to integrating the knowledge and resources from our universities, from neighborhood leadership, the private sector, government, to creatively rethink urban policy and produce new models of public infrastructure. And we propose that the San Diego Incubator for Civic Imagination and Neighborhood Initiatives try to duplicate, or in a new context, take those successes and to facilitate the city's and your district's best thinking to generate exemplary projects in our neighborhoods and serve as a support platform to advise various city departments on best urban practices, not only in this nation but around the world. Many good planning ideas have been produced in San Diego, some going decades back, and they need implementation. But city management, our offices, you all know, are bound by day-to-day activity. We're putting out fires all the time. We are pretty much reactive, and we don't have the luxury to be aspirational or inspirational and proactively try to activate our various silos and various departments to collaborate and execute projects. So the mission of this new budget item is to produce a platform, literally, where innovation and collaboration occurs inside the city, facilitating and integrating the best thinking on public policy and planning across sectors that will produce exemplary neighborhood projects on public space, environmental infrastructure, and socioeconomic entrepreneurship for the betterment and prosperity of our binational region. And you're going to hear some of these ideas that I know you have encountered in your districts, I have encountered in a short time as mayor, and how we would hope to integrate them into this new program. And you're going to hear from people from the New School of Architecture, from people creating binational culture and our binational Olympic bids, and those involved in the education of our children. Mr. San Diego, Tony Gwynn, has dispatched, I'll say, no, actually she's here on her own, Alicia Gwynn, to talk about a program that she wants to do for mentoring and educating our young people and having them involved in city government. And again, these cut across all our departments and cut across the bureaucracies. And we don't have time to really think about them very much. And I want to sort of create that center right here in the city. By the way, on the binational Olympics, I had the opportunity to spend some time yesterday with Governor Romney, who is now living here in San Diego and is here, and he will be an advisor to our bid. Vince, we have that. He has graciously talked about it. I will tell the Republicans on the council, if I had seen him in the way I saw this guy yesterday, I mean, incredibly down to earth and friendly and creative, and I mean, he would have been president. He didn't come across that way on television or stuff, but I will tell you, he's an incredibly creative and interesting guy. He wants to help us. He wants to do well for our home. Of course, if Boston submits a bid, he's going to have some severed loyalties there, but he's going to help a great deal. let me just try to specify a few goals and a few projects, and I'll end. We want to serve, as I said, as a support platform to your offices, the city council offices, to all our departments, to convene the best urban design ideas and mobilize interdepartment collaboration to implement them. We want to provide a space of innovation and collaboration inside our City Hall to summon the most creative urban thinking, research, design, and action on both sides of the border. We want to integrate fragmented agendas, resources, and knowledge from universities, community-based organizations, the private sector, planning and design, and the municipality. You're going to hear today from, I'll call them 20-something entrepreneurs. Incredibly, this is the future. Incredibly innovative ideas. They're looking for incubator space to talk about how they can advance their ideas within San Diego. Where do they go in our city? Well, I think this is the place we're going to be set up for them to have that incubator that they need right here in City Hall. We want to elevate previous vision plans for the city. Many of you know what temporary paradise was, issues of Canyonlands, City of Villages, to construct new mechanisms for their implementation. We want to provide new creative partnerships with community-based organizations in each of our districts and neighborhoods to collaboratively advance innovative urban initiatives, physically implement pilot projects that will advance our socio-economic equity in our neighborhoods and our city. We want to transform underutilized public assets and spaces, like Jason talked about, in communities, into new sites for public education, civic engagement, startup entrepreneurship, and environmental infrastructure. We want to develop innovative outreach efforts in our neighborhoods in partnership with local organizations to mobilize new community participation as we reimagine the infrastructure of our city. We wanted to advise on the reconstitution of our planning efforts in the San Diego to facilitate dialogue across a variety of stakeholders to envision a new era of planning, urban design, and architectural excellence for our city. Speaking today will be, for a fact, Mike Stepner of the New School of Architecture, who was the first city architect in the city over 20 years ago. We want to develop a more integrated binational regional vision, essential to environmental sustainability and socioeconomic prosperity, of course, on both sides of the border. We want to seek external funding from philanthropy, state and federal agencies, local, national, and international organizations for the implementation of these projects. The city is not very good on grant writing capabilities, and this incubator will fill this role and will leverage our seed monies to generate additional resources. We're already, for example, in pretty far along discussions with the Ford Foundation to fund some of these efforts, and they're extremely interested in the processes that we're doing. You know, the city of Detroit has had hundreds of millions of dollars worth of investment from outside corporate and philanthropic organizations to try to revive their city, and we can do that, the same kind of resources here. Let me just end by giving you some concrete examples of what we're talking about. The idea of a binational Olympics is not an easy one. Nobody's going to say that we're going to get this in 2024. But the process of coming together, of bringing civic leadership on both sides of the border, is going to be a wonderful process, and it will come out of this kind of organization. We want to rethink. Many of you talked in your own campaigns and have talked over the years of a bikeable city. How do we get everybody interested in that? Many of you know the concept that we're now calling Ciclos Dias, Days of the Bicycle. We're going to have our first Ciclos Dias in San Diego on August 11th. But it's taking a route or neighborhood or a section of the city for some hours or a day or a weekend, and literally take out the automobiles, have people walk and bike and have street fairs and get a whole sense of the city from a new perspective. Ciclos Dias will find its home in this new incubator. Many of you are working with your neighborhood groups and parklets, that we call them, and reimagining how parking lots and neighborhoods into smaller public spaces that can serve our neighborhoods. Fab Labs, you've heard of that? new spaces with fabrication infrastructure to incentivize job generation in neighborhoods. That will be part of this. New engines for entrepreneurship, which you will hear about. Activating empty warehouses, for example, for young entrepreneurships and their startups. The vacant lots initiative, where new public spaces in neighborhoods will act as civic classrooms. You've all dealt with issues of sidewalk cafes and food carts, where we should promote a much more diverse culture and looking at our neighborhoods. Binational, of course, efforts. The issues around the border and making that border more efficient. Environmental education, playgrounds, city laboratories. All of these we think have excited people. You'll hear about some of them today. You'll hear about how we can use this incubator to help the education of our children in terms of mentoring them about the civic structure that we have in San Diego and intern here at City Hall. I think this could be a very exciting thing. We've asked for 6 positions and some non-personnel expenses. We think we're going to leverage that into much greater millions of dollars as we go along. As I said, we're pretty far along with a Ford Foundation grant that will fund a lot of this, and we look forward to working with you and for an exciting kind of approach to breaking down the things that tend to divide us. To create, where we want to create literally a space for the best ideas across our city to come together. I thank you very much, Mr. President and Council.
Thank you, Mayor.